Hi, this is Magda K here. In today's short video, I want to reveal to you 5 secrets about human behavior. But what's more, I will be sharing with you some tips how you can use this knowledge to increase your business right away. See, what I'll be talking about is really about small changes, but sometimes small change can have really big and significant result on your business. So in other words, small change, well, that means little work. So what I want to share with you really is something that you can implement right away effortlessly that doesn't, require a lot of time from you or a lot of people so that you can start enjoying those positive results on your business right away. So let's get to the essence of this presentation. So the tip number 1 is that we prefer to read shorter lines. Now, maybe that's not really surprising to you, but did you know that we are actually faster at reading longer lines? So, how does it really work? Well, have a look at this screenshot from a wiki page, and as you can see, the line is very long. It goes from one end to another. And, see a little bit, how do you feel about this page when looking at it? Do you feel motivated to start reading? See, probably you feel overwhelmed just because it looks like there's so much text to read. You would be much more likely to start reading page like this one. But let's remember that actually reading a shorter lines, text in columns like a typical newspaper, it actually takes us longer time to read it. So how can you use this knowledge now when it comes to your website? Well, think about mostly your main pages. So that will be your opt-in page and your product page. Now, these very often are long pages. You have a long sales copy. So you want to do 2 things. So firstly, you want to make sure that whoever lands on your page starts reading it. So they start reading the headline and the next line and the next line when they're finally hooked on the content and they just flow, they keep reading it and you don't have to really worry that much about losing them. So especially in the beginning of your page, this is where you want to follow shorter lines for people. So you want to start with something that will encourage people to read your page. And only later you want to move to something longer. Why? Well, because as we said, your page is probably quite long and it takes a long time for people to read it. So you want to facilitate it. You want to help them do it. So remember these things. The optimal reading speed, that's the line that will have about 100 characters. Now, the one we prefer the most, it's 40 to 70. So once again, when you start your long pages, use this 40 to 70 characters per line and slowly make the lines longer to help people read faster, your page and get to this order menu right away. Okay, now ready for the tip number 2? We can remember only 3 to 4 things at a time, and usually we remember it only for a few seconds and then it disappears. So we need to help people memorize it. And one very simple way for you to do it is to chunk information. And phone numbers, the format of phone numbers is a perfect example because that's exactly what's happening. There are more than 4 digits in a phone number, but because it's being chunked into 3 groups of 3 to 4 items, you actually allow people to memorize and to read the number easier. Now, why is that so important to us? See, it's actually crucial for you to remember because if the number goes more than 4, what happens is that we lose our capability to choose well. So let's say I have 6 or 10 or even more options. I can actually get paralyzed and not choose at all. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to help people navigate through your page. You want to help them make decision where to go next, what to click on. So make sure that you limit the number of choices to 3 or 4. Now, I wanted to share with you the example of the main page for TED Talks. Now, I'm not sure if they did it intentionally, but as you can see here, there are actually a lot of screenshots of different videos that you can choose from. And in any other design, it could be overwhelming for anybody to understand and navigate it. But if you actually have a look at what they did, see, they put together 3 videos in a shape of a box. And if you look at the whole page here, Actually, the whole front page is designed in this way. So all of those screenshots, all of those videos are actually chunked into groups. Now here you have 5 groups, but each does not contain more than 4 screenshots. And actually, by this design solution, they're making it easier for people to choose the video they want to watch. Or have a look at my personal email. Now I'm sure you recognize this from yours as well. There are so many options, so many things you can click on. Now we're talking about much more than just 3 to 4, but even here, by chunking it, by grouping it, they're making it so much easier for us to move and decide where to go next. So first you have the horizontal navigation, and then each one drops down with more options. So again, how can you, or how should you even implement it on your website? Now, what you really want to look at is your navigation bar. Now, I've seen pages that have 20 different positions on their homepage to click on, and that's very difficult for people to look at and decide where to go next. So, you want to help them, especially with your main page. You want to help them move around and find information that they want. So what you really want to look at is simplifying your main page. So your navigation bar, all of the boxes that you have, put it into groups of 3 to 4. Then each group can again open up and divide into 3 to 4 sections. Again, each section within that can later open up. So in a way, you are guiding people. You're never asking them to memorize or to choose from more than 3 to 4 items. You're creating the logical and easy path for them to follow. So remember, your navigation bar, that's the key. Put only the main information there. Simplify it. The key is simplicity. Now, tip number 3. That's a really funny one. See, the way our brain works is that if we observe somebody taking an action, our brain thinks for a split of a second that it's actually being us. So imagine you're seeing a child eating an ice cream. By looking at the child doing so, you actually think that it's you who's eating it. Now, of course, a series of other actions happen, like the fact that you cannot taste the ice cream. So eventually, you will realize that you're not the one with the ice cream here. But what's important is that this process happens. Now, what you can do knowing this. So first of all, use images of people on your pages and make sure they're smiling and having fun. Think of yourself ever holding a child who smiles at you. You cannot help but smiling back. And it's a very natural reaction to people, all people. So the same works, with images. So if you put an image of somebody smiling and looking right at your prospect on the page, they will naturally smile back. So that's a great way for you to make sure that whoever is on your page and reads it is in a good mood. And actually, being in a good mood helps people trying new things and new brands. So yes, you want to do it. Now, that's images, but another secret tip that I have for you is to use videos. Now, not just any video. Try putting a video of somebody using your product. Now, the reason why this tip is so strong is because when people observe somebody else use your product, they will think, even for the split of a second, that it's them using it. Now, that might be enough for them to create the feeling of ownership. So they will feel like they already have your product. They already, in a way, feel and know what it's like to use it. Now, people hate losing. So once they have something, once they create the feeling of ownership, it's so much more difficult for them to give it away because it creates the feeling of loss. So once you manage to create the feeling of ownership with this video, people are more likely to buy your product just because not buying it would mean to them losing it. Okay, ready for tip number 4? The sense of a progress is motivating. But that's not it. The interesting thing is that even the illusion of progress motivates people to behave in a certain way. Now, this behavior will accelerate the closer you get to the goal, and that's called goal gradient effect. So what happens is that people start taking certain actions, and the closer they get to the goal, the faster they will continue this action because, this goal is just so close to them, they want it. But keep in mind also that once the goal is achieved, the motivation drops drastically. Now, this is an amazing thing to use for your loyalty programs. Allow people to take part in the process, give them some steps to follow, give them the goal that they can reach. But again, remember, how can you make sure that they're getting closer and closer to the goal, but without never really actually achieving it? So think, for example, that you're promising a free bonus if somebody buys 2 products of yours. And once they're entitled to the bonus, you could say, hey, you can either use your credit points to get this free bonus, or if you collect even more, I will give you a bigger bonus for that. So see, you can keep this process going and going and going. Now, I wanted to share with you an example here that happened to me, and various research also shows that. As I said, the illusion of progress motivates, and even more than before starting the progress itself. Now, let me explain here. Imagine, you're going to a shop and you buy a juice, and you get a loyalty card. So later, you would have to get still 10 juices, and then you get your 11th juice for free. So imagine the scenario where you get the card, and right away you're getting a stamp for the first juice that you just bought. And after the stamp, you need to buy 10 juices, and you get your 11th one for free. Now, comparing to another scenario where you're not getting this very first stamp, you get a card with 10 spots to fill, and then your 11th juice will be for free. So as you can see, people still need to buy the same amount of juices to get their free one. The only difference is that in one case, they're getting a stamp before. And as research has shown, if you have the stamp in the beginning, even though the later step that you have to take are always the same, people will be more motivated just because they feel that they have already, made this first step towards the goal. They already made a commitment, so they want to be consistent with it. So how can you use it again? Well, think of, for example, maybe you want people to take certain actions, and doing the steps, you give them points, and later they can claim something for the points. Now imagine simply giving them points or a badge by simply signing up. So they're not really doing anything just yet, but they just said that they want to enter the program, and this simple fact, you can reward it. And by doing so, you create the illusion of progress, and you motivate people to participate in your program even more. Okay, and the last tip, and I have to be honest, as a woman, I kind of hate to admit it, but the truth is that we can't multitask. And here I'm talking about cognitive tasks, so the ones that actually require us to focus and think. What we actually do, we switch tasks. And yes, I know all women, we love to think that we're amazing at multitasking. We switch tasks, but at least we tend to do it faster than men. But what does it mean for the business? Well, see, what happens is that we move from one task to another, and we can do it very fast, but it can be extremely fast, but still between the tasks, these are the moments when we lose our attention, we lose our focus. So eventually we're not as effective at performing those tasks. We don't remember that well. We don't pay as much attention as we like to think. Now, if you remember only one tip from all of this video, that's the one I want you to remember, because it has such an important implication on what you do. And I've seen people doing those mistakes on their websites, and I know that by simply improving it, they will increase their conversion. So here it is. One thing at a time. One message at a time. One call to action at a time. I am referring here to your 2 most important pages, your sign-up page and your product page. Make sure that on these pages, you're not asking your prospects anything else. You don't want to distract them. You don't want them to switch tasks between different call to actions. So on your sign-up page, use design to help you. Make sure the sign up box is very visible and that whatever people do, they can see that they're kind of being pulled towards the sign up box. Use more than one on your page. You can use pop-ups. But remember, that's the only thing you want to ask people to do. And the same on your product page. The only action people should be asked to perform is click on the order menu. Now, that means that you don't want to put additional links on the sides. You want to limit your sidebars. You don't even want to ask people for comments, even though commenting is a very strong tool. It keeps people engaging. On these two pages, don't do it. Just because when people have to choose between either signing up or buying or leaving a comment, they might choose to leave a comment and stop there. So remember, these two pages, they make your business. So don't ask anything else. Ask them only to leave their email or only to buy. Now, I hope you found those secrets about human behavior useful and interesting and maybe surprising. But see, I really love sharing this information with other people, and I would love for you to do the same. So see how you can implement it in your business. And once you do, leave a comment in the section below. Share with others how you are implementing it and what kind of changes and results you have seen in your business. Or maybe you have a question. I would love for all our community to exchange ideas and help each other to help grow our businesses. Because I believe that by growing your business, you're helping everybody else, as long as your product is good. So please do share. And also, if you have any question to me, feel free to put this question in the comment section below and I'll try getting back to you as soon as possible. Well, that was Magda K, and I can't wait for another session of tips for you and how you can implement them in your business again. So have a great day and I'll speak to you soon.